Hi students, welcome to another of my business studies video lesson. Today we will be discussing chapter 25, environmental and ethical issues in business. Please read my notes along with the textbook pages. Uh, I think you should have already gotten your textbooks, so I will not send you the textbook pages anymore, but I will WhatsApp my notes to you as usual to the business studies chat group in WhatsApp. Okay, and this video lesson is posted on Google Classroom. All right, homework for this chapter for this week will be given again on Wednesday after you have handed in your last week's homework. Okay, so please hand in your last week's homework on time by 10 p.m. this Wednesday. And as usual, I want to remind you all that we will have our Skype lesson this Wednesday at 1 p.m. Not 1:30, but at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And I will end sharply at 2 p.m. So please log on by 1 p.m. on time. So because we only have 1 hour, I will give you the case study to discuss and whatever else to discuss by Tuesday evening. So you can prepare before the Wednesday 1 p.m. Skype class. Okay. And we have to finish by 2 p.m. because 2 p.m. you have another class just for this week. All right, I continue to encourage you to study hard because you are heading for your 2 week holiday already in 2 weeks time. Okay, at the beginning of the Raya holidays will also be your 2 week midterm break. All right, for your 2 week midterm break, I will give you some past year papers to do as homework so that you will continue practicing business studies in preparation for your final exams. Okay, without further ado, let's start chapter 25. Basically, this chapter, please read the notes and the textbook before you view this video. Okay, so you can pause this video and read the notes right now and then get back to this lesson. All right, businesses aim to satisfy customers' needs and wants by producing products and services, right? But when the businesses produce products and services, they also produce benefits to society as well as they give problems, negative effects to society. For example, businesses can pollute the environment, they can produce harmful products that can hurt people. They can have very unethical business practices like hiring children to work below 12 years old when children should be studying, selling drugs, all kinds of things. All right. So how do we balance the benefits that business bring to society, and how do we minimize the damage that business brings to society? Okay, so the government will step in to ensure there's a balance and that the benefits far outweigh the disadvantages. Okay, and how these government policies will affect the decisions of businesses or the profits of businesses. Okay, so I'm not going to go into the details because I think this is an easy chapter to understand. You can read my notes, which is very thorough, and when you compare with the textbook gives even more examples to have a proper and a complete understanding of this chapter. Okay, towards the end I will share with you some of the tips for exams and what kind of questions will come out for the exams. Okay, but basically just to summarize these notes, basically you just read the social benefits and the social costs. Now, just to so that you're not confused, some textbook use the word external instead of social. It's the same meaning. Okay, so external benefits is the same as social benefits. External costs is the same as social costs. External means how businesses affect uh, people and environment outside the business, or external or from the business. Okay, and it's also the same meaning as social, means how it impacts society, how it impacts the environment. It's the same meaning. Okay, so read this yourself. And basically the second section is, should businesses be socially responsible? Being socially responsible means they care about the environment, they don't cheat people, they care about future generations by not depleting natural resources and giving living natural resources for future generations to use, so on, etc. Okay, so there are arguments for both sides. Okay, businesses argue against social responsibilities because of these 5 reasons. There may be other reasons, but I've listed 5 reasons here. The textbook may have more reasons, and some people argue for social responsibility, why businesses should be socially responsible. And also I've given 5 key reasons here. There could be more, it's not exhaustive, but you can use common sense. All right, and so read that yourself. Okay, and the next thing in the notes you will study is externalities, or basically what you call cost benefit analysis. Okay, or externality studies. Okay, so studying externalities or cost benefit analysis simply means businesses or even the government, they will, when a business wants to set up in one location, just say a factory producing furniture wants to set up in Arada Mansara, okay, for example, then the government will have a department to study the cost benefit analysis, okay, of the impact of that furniture factory on the society and on the locals in living in that area, businesses working in that area. So they will study the traffic, how whether the factory will cause traffic jams, the factory will produce air pollution or river pollution, will they have to clear forests, destroying animal habitats. That's the negative social costs or external costs. Okay. But then this factory will also produce social benefits, or what they call external benefits, such as they will create jobs for the local community. They will produce furniture which customers can buy and enjoy. They can furnish their houses, and this furniture factory will provide tax to the government, and the government can use this to build new schools, fix roads, repair roads, clean rubbish. They can pay for government expenses, right, that benefit society. So the government is supposed to weigh, if the benefits outweighs the cost, then yes, the business should be established. But if the cost outweighs the benefits, then that factory should not be set up. Okay, so the government can control this by doing externality studies or cost benefit analysis studies. You see why? Because most businesses will only will only study their private costs and benefits. Private costs and benefits means what is the benefit to the business itself, what is the cost to the business itself, and not really care about the externalities or the social costs and benefits. Okay, so that's why governments normally step in to do this, and before giving a permission or permit to the factory to be set up in a certain area. Okay, that's just an example. It can be many other types of businesses as well. Okay, so go and study this yourself. But the other thing to study in this chapter is the meaning of sustainable development. What do you mean by sustainable development? Meaning allowing businesses to develop or grow in a country so that their benefits will be provided, like creating jobs, creating wealth, growing the economy, right? Giving taxes. But developing businesses, governments should ensure businesses are developed in a way, or economic growth is in a way that is sustainable to the environment. Okay, this is different from the sustainable economic growth that we talked about in the last chapter, chapter 24. Okay, that sustainable economic growth means there's economic growth that does not lead to a recession or overheating of the economy. But this sustainable business development means businesses will grow, means there'll be more and more businesses set up in the economy, but it will not deplete natural resources, it will not harm the environment such that future generations suffer. Okay, so sustainable development in this sense means business development, economic development that protects the environment, protects natural resources, so that future generations can also benefit. Okay, future generations can maintain a good quality of life. All right, so how can businesses contribute to sustainable development? These are, you can read yourself, the 7 points here. It's practically self-explanatory, it's common sense. But once again, guys, anything you don't understand, please call me, message me, you can ask me anytime. Okay, I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Right? Don't ever tell your parents, "Oh, Mr. Damien didn't teach clearly, I cannot understand." You can always ask me questions outside of lesson time. Okay? All right. So the next thing you need to understand is protecting the environment and promoting social responsibility. Okay, there are two kinds of groups that two types of groups that two groups that can ensure businesses protects the environment and promote social responsibility. It means businesses develop social responsibility. Number one is pressure groups, and number two is governments. You will see later in the next part of the notes. Okay, but pressure groups are any social organization or any group of people coming together to pressure or to influence businesses to become socially responsible. So pressure groups can take actions like they can boycott products and services of businesses that are unethical, that do not practice social responsibility. Boycotting goods means they will tell consumers, they will come up in the press, they say this company is exploiting children, or this company is harming the environment. Let's stop buying their products. Let's make this business bankrupt. That's called boycotting their goods and services, not buying their products, not paying for their services of this business. And so the business will be panicky and they will say, okay, we will make changes to be more socially responsible. We will make sure we do not pollute the environment. We will take anti-pollution measures. Okay, so pressure groups can take action to force businesses to be ethical. Okay, but apart from boycotts, they can do organized street demonstrations and a whole list of other activities which you can read in page 320 of your textbook. Okay, for the list of methods a pressure group may use to pressure businesses to achieve the objectives they want. All right, and this may not be in your textbook, but it's in another textbook. Pressure groups need to act smartly to achieve its objectives. So it may not be coming out in exams, but it's a good general knowledge, right? How to be an effective pressure group, and pressure groups need to know the situations where they will not be effective. So you can read this list yourself. Okay, and the other group is the government. Okay, the government can force businesses to be socially responsible, to protect the environment, to not harm people by the laws that they can pass in parliament to force businesses to be ethical. Okay, so you can read yourself many of these that we have already studied in previous chapters. For example, employment laws, consumer laws to protect consumers and employees. Okay, and also anti-pollution laws. Okay, but one thing to note is the government can provide things like tax discounts. Another word for tax discounts when it pertains to the environment is what they call tax credits. Okay, they can reward businesses that use green technology. Green technology means they use technology that does not harm the environment. Anti-pollution technology is another word for green technology. Another thing that type of business they can reward is businesses that use renewable energy. The word renewable energy means using wind power, solar power, hydro means water power to create energy like electricity to run business, right? But instead of using fossil fuels like petrol and gas. Okay, why petrol and gas is natural resources that can deplete. That means it can be used up until there's no more. Okay, then future generations cannot use, right? And also petrol and gas can pollute the environment, right? Can harm the air pollution. Okay, but renewable energy means energy that can be used over and over again and will not run out, like air, wind, water. All this sun energy cannot be depleted, right? Can use over and over again and doesn't harm the environment. And so green technology and renewable energy companies that practice them, the government can encourage them to implement this green and renewable technology by giving tax discounts, okay, or what you call tax benefits. Other words they use is tax pollution permits. Pollution permits is like they give you a permit that says they calculate how much pollution you can cause to the environment a year. If you don't use that pollution permit, means you don't use that much, you don't pollute that much by that much calculation, they give you tax benefits for that. So all that is very complex. You can go and research about pollution permits or tax permits regarding pollution laws. Okay, you can research it on the internet, and ways the government can provide incentives to encourage businesses. Now in the exams you don't have to be very specific. You can just say government can provide incentives to encourage businesses to protect the environment, like giving tax discounts. Okay, all right. So and other things as well. Okay, then the last part of this chapter, you have to read about what it means to be an ethical business. The word ethical means morally correct, right? You do businesses make decisions that do not harm environment. Businesses make decisions that do not cheat consumers, do not cheat workers, that do not cheat suppliers, okay, that do not do practice illegal things. Okay, so all this is called ethical businesses. So an ethical business is in other words, is a business that is socially responsible. So these are interchangeable words. Okay, ethical business, socially responsible business. Okay, so you can read the list of the examples of ethical business decisions that businesses can make, that therefore you can say they are ethical businesses. Okay, so it's not exhaustive, there could be more examples, but these are the common ones. You can study, you can read it yourselves. Okay, but there's this ongoing debate in the business world, in the politics world, about the potential benefits and the potential limitations or disadvantages of ethical decisions or ethical businesses. Okay, and you can read it yourself. Okay, because some businesses will argue that, for example, I run a business just to make profits, and profits are good. I need to make profits because it provides jobs. I contribute taxes to the government, right? I come up with research for cancer, right? I do charity work, like I help the poor and the needy because of the profits of the business. So if you ask me to be socially responsible or ethical, that means it might reduce my profits, or it might cause me to make losses, and then it will harm jobs. It will cause to be recession to happen and things like that. Okay, so the government should be the one that is taking care of the environment and taking care of workers, not businesses. Okay, so that is people who argue against ethical decisions in business. But businesses that believe in being ethical, being socially responsible, they will argue that if I am socially responsible, more consumers will support my business because they like my branding, and therefore I will make more profits, and I can therefore create more jobs and contribute to more taxes. So read it yourself. Okay, then you yourself decide which is the best. I always believe there is a balance, right? While businesses must be allowed to be free to make profits, they must also be socially responsible. Okay, so exam questions can ask you things like definitions of what is socially responsible mean, or what is an ethical business mean. They can ask you to debate the benefits or disadvantages of being ethical to businesses or to consumers. For example, to consumers, being ethical means prices are very high and consumers will have to pay higher cost of living expenses, right? But the benefits to consumers is that the environment is protected, they get better pay and things like that. Okay, so you need to read also how pressure groups can impact businesses, or how governments can influence businesses to be more socially responsible, and what are the steps they can take to ensure governments are more socially responsible. This will be tested on in exams. Okay, and they'll ask you things like what is the definition of being sustainable development. Okay, remember it's different from sustainable economic growth that we learned in chapter 24 last week. Okay, so They can ask you what is the definition of cost benefit analysis, or what's the meaning of externality studies. Okay, what is private cost, private benefits, social cost, social benefits. Okay, and they can also ask you whether, what do you think, should company A be socially responsible? Okay, then you argue the benefits for and the benefit and the disadvantages against companies being socially responsible. Okay, and how can businesses impact the economy, or impact the environment, sorry, or impact society, or what harm can businesses do to impact society or the environment. Okay, so these are a variety of exam questions. When you do your homework, you can see how to study this such that you can score for your exams, what you need to study to score for your exams. Okay, or what kind of questions will come out for exams. And I'll be giving you a homework, and also later on even past year paper 2 questions to do. All right, so guys, study this chapter, and any questions, please let me know. Again, I'll give you your homework on Wednesday or Thursday after you submit your last homework from last week. Okay, thank you guys, God bless you all, and stay safe. Bye bye.